All right, all right, all right. We are live now. It is, I think, Thursday. Yep, days are running together. It is Thursday, November 6th, and I am here hanging out on this webinar with my buddy, my business partner, Jason Legaard, down in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Flagstaff, Arizona. Two different worlds. I get the nice trees, the mountains, the four seasons. Jason gets the heat. So, how you doing, Jason?
Good, man. Yeah, I get the one long season called hot for the most part and dirt. So, but no, I'm feeling good. It's been a heck of a week again for us. And last night we had some major wins for the both of us. Not only with our first product we've created, a contest we were part of. So a lot of celebrating going last night. In full disclosure, I am enjoying. Speaking of celebration, last night I am enjoying a Mike's Hard Lemonade as we speak live here on the show. You got to treat yourself once in a while. And we have a very special guest this evening, the man, Bruce Lee. So
Bruce. His name's
he's going to help
Bruce.
us out. But no, we're stoked. I know you're stoked, man, because of the topic we're going to touch on, which we kind of teased out last night at the end, which everybody watching this live or the replay, I was laughing the way Eddie left a huge cliffhanger last night with like no hints at all as to what we were going to talk about tonight to really make you guys come on back to see what we're about. So I'm excited to tell this part of our story because, and I'm sure you agree, Eddie. I mean, this part of the story this is where the game changed for both of us. What we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm ready, brother. If you want to
This
kick it off.
is, and before we go there, let's go to now, and then what we'll do is backtrack. And you just gave a hint, so I know I might have left some people on a cliffhanger last night, but you just said we had some wins, and
Yeah.
both you and I, and one thing both Jason and I have learned through all the personal development training and soul searching and whatnot is it's okay to pat yourself on the back. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to share with people that, hey, I accomplished something and I'm happy for myself because I put in a lot of I put in tons of hard work. And Jason, of course, did major work behind the scenes. And I wanted to give him props, give you props, Jason, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people might think this is what we do full time.
Yeah.
Jason buses about 40 plus hours a week. Plus, we came out with this product. Plus, we got several other things going on. And Jason still placed. Jason, I'll let you share where you placed and kind of celebrate the win and let these people know
In fact,
what
I'm
you
gonna have another toast to that win. Man, I mean, I need to get another one. It's low already. Well, I appreciate that, man. And, Eddie hit it on the head there. When you guys watch us doing these webinars, in the evenings, and you see the progress we've made and you see, the products we're creating and the coaching we've offered to folks and different things. And we're going to these events. We have our mastermind coming up later this month in Tampa. You might think we're doing this full time. That is the furthest thing from the truth. So take heart in that if you are building your online business part-time, because yeah, like Eddie said, I work usually 40 plus hours a week at my full-time job, and then I'm just hustling all the time, even on breaks at work. I break out my smartphone. I'm marketing, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. I'm messaging people. But yeah, I had a big win, and this week both of us were part of an affiliate contest for Ignition Mastermind, and hustling my ass off these last few weeks. I was able to place in the top 10. I took sixth place. So I got a little cash money coming my way and a Leap Motion doodad, which apparently allows you to go like woo with your computer and stuff. I hadn't even heard of the damn thing. Sounds cool to me. And and Eddie placed 11th, and he's going to tell you about his super cool prize, which I think actually Eddie came out ahead more than I did by placing 11th because of the unique nature of that 11th place prize, which he'll talk about in a sec. But before I turn it back to him, the sixth place finish, hitting top 10, and the prizes are cool for sure. More importantly, what it was, cracking top 10, taking sixth place while hustling part time. A lot of challenges were there along the way, obstacles, time constraints, frustrations, a lot of different things. It wasn't so much the prize or the prizes, it was more the fact that I still pulled it off. And another thing I want to mention, you folks who compete in affiliate contests and things of this nature, I was not able to invest any money at the time into any advertising, any solo ads, any promotions. This was all straight person-to-person hustle. This was on the phone. These were personal messages. These were Facebook posts, telling stories. All free, all pure hustle. And I placed in 6th place. So again, take this example and our example to heart. You don't need a huge bankroll to start. It helps later, and that's going to come. And that's where we're headed now. But hustle. It's just like Gary Vaynerchuk says, he's all about that hustle, and it proves itself over and over. So Eddie, to give you a reverse right back to you, to a shout out, I mean, Eddie, same thing, busting his butt up there in Flag, working that full-time job, and he places 11th, and you might think to yourself, 11th place? Okay, well, like, why are you so hyped up about 11th place? Eddie, I think you need to tell him why 11th place is pretty cool in this particular contest.
This is one thing that I've always been big on, is little things and creating little moments, no matter what it is, whether it's with my kids, whether it's just with a special someone, no matter what, little things mean a lot to me. What I failed to realize until recently was 11th place to me wasn't, it wasn't, I guess it was unexpected. But the other thing is working full time. Also, I have other stuff going on in the background, which Jason knows about, which is in a sense maybe a legitimate excuse, but not. But still, also, I made a push to get my writing done, and then on top of this, this contest, it was a reward. And then what came after that was even bigger for both Jason and I at the same time. But what was funny was I won a half-used scented candle, creamy pumpkin scented candle from, here's the deal though, a 7-figure earner. So that bad boy's gonna sit here at this desk.
That's right.
You never know what it's gonna bring. So anyways, that's one thing we want to share with you. That's one thing that I've always had a problem with. Big problem is patting myself on the back or receiving a compliment. And it's funny because I will see in you that you do not receive compliments well, but yet that's one thing I'm struggling with, and I've gotten better. So that's why I had to start this show off the way I did with this, to say, hey, there's always growth. There's always going to be progression. You can always move forward. You just got to allow yourself to. You got to want to. And you got to free yourself from who you are today to become the person you want to be tomorrow. And that is where we're going to go back to the beginning of the year, and I'll let Jason start it off, is letting go of the ego. And this is where Jason and I, this was the change for us. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This was the change for both of us at the same time, because we're both about to go back into our normal lives of contentment, unhappiness, getting by, adjusting the struggle as each struggle came by, knowing we can change it, but not willing to take the steps to it. So, Jason, start us off.
Oh, boy. Yeah, this, like I said, that's why we're so excited to share this part of our stories tonight, because we feel this is very important stuff for those of you out there that you might be at that wall of frustration right now. You might have been investing time and money and effort in learning how to create your online business, and you've got all this software and tools and great stuff, but the fact of the matter is it's just not happening. And you're working a full-time job, and you have kids, you've got responsibilities, and you're worn out and you're pissed off, and it ain't happening. But at the same time, what's funny is, in that position of not getting the results that you want, because you have gone through a lot of trainings, gone to events, you've even gained some mentors, you've learned, you've read the books, you're listening to podcasts, I mean, the whole 9 yards. So what was interesting, at least for myself, this was back in February, as I look back at it now, I had learned so much, knew so much, I thought, but the results weren't there. And Eddie touched on, the kind of theme of tonight is letting go of the ego. And actually, as I was getting ready to fire things up tonight, I came up with a little phrase to kind of just, put it in a simple way, is in regards to ego, and it goes like this: if you're thinking you know it all, or how does it go? It's something like you're acting like you know it all, but you're doing very little. And that's kind of where we were at, and not doing very little as in not working hard. We were both busting our asses, learning the right techniques and strategies and reaching out to people and going to events. I mean, that putting in the work wasn't the problem. I mean, doing very little in where are the results? Where's the actual real world progress? Where's the tracking of those results? Are we analyzing? Are we taking a peek at why maybe this isn't working as fast as we thought? So when we in February, there was an event down the street called HBA, Home Business Academy. It's put on by Brenda Gagne and Justin Glover, because they were ramping up and getting ready to release to the world, their new training platform, Results 513. So this was kind of their way of kicking things off. And so we went down there, and Eddie came down from Flagstaff for the weekend, crashed at my place. It literally was down the street. I mean, like 4-minute drive. And so we went there mainly on a whim. I mean, I got us the tickets, and he was like, it was down the street, crash at my place. A lot of our friends are going to be there. Cool. And both of us were kind of at a point of just packing it in when it comes to trying to really focus on our online business and our big visions, of being speakers and changing people's lives and creating products and trainings and, having lifestyle freedom. So we go down there, and we kind of had a conversation, actually, because Eddie came down that morning. In fact, early, he drove down from Flagstaff, and we were cruising over there, and I remember turning to Eddie, and I said, you know what, dude? I said, we need to walk into this place like the two biggest dumbasses on the planet. I mean, we got to walk in here like we don't know nothing. Because the fact of the matter is, we really don't. Because, we might think we've gained all this stuff, which we had, but we're not making the progress we know we're capable of. We're not gaining the results, that we know we're capable of. So we had to let go of our ego. And that's humbling, because there's all these people there that knew us for a while and, probably expected certain things out of us or what have you. And we walked in there clean slate and said, I don't know a damn thing. Like walking in and sitting down at those tables, like the thought I had in my head the whole time was, I don't even know what email is. I don't even know what YouTube is. I don't know what an autoresponder is. That was my mindset. Complete newbie. I don't know even where to start. And by dumping the ego, and Eddie, I'll let you take over here, for me, all of a sudden the floodgates open, because I let loose of ego. I let loose of all the other bullshit that was running around up here, and just started from scratch with that weekend.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. And when you brought that up, that kind of opened some doors for me to say, yeah, I know a lot, but if I know so much, then why am I struggling? Why? And I told the other night on Brad's show why I did not almost come down, and you talked me into coming down. And I don't know if it's different for women or whatnot, but for me, and having been an athlete, having been a captain of several sports, having fought fires, having been a supervisor and whatnot, you had to have that confidence that you were, in a sense, an alpha male. You were the alpha. You were strong. You can push. You can learn, and you will adapt and whatnot. Well, this was a new world to me. I went from running chainsaws, sleeping on the ground, climbing trees, doing tree work, any type of construction work, doing physical manual labor, which I honestly love to do to a certain extent, but I'm not getting any younger, to dive into a world where I was just blown away. It's like, okay, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a challenge. And thinking, I should take that back. I was learning a little, but it was just constant motion leading to nowhere. And when Jason brought that up, it was one of those things going, I'm not walking in this place like I'm an alpha. I'm walking in this bad boy like Jason said. I'm willing to be a sponge. I need to be a sponge because what I know right now is not getting me where I want to be. So something's wrong. So I got to take a couple steps back, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many steps back, become a sponge and soak in what's being taught, soak in what's being fed. And it was one of those things that had Jason not said that, I probably wouldn't adjusted to that seminar the way I had. But it was exactly that. It was like, just shut your mouth, open your mind, open your heart, and learn, because what you know, what you've been doing, ain't getting you where you want to go. And that's huge. It's humbling, but it's so rewarding later on to say, okay, I know how to step back and be a student again. I don't care if you're 30 years old, 40 years old. And how old is Carolyn? 70-something years old at one of our events. This 70-something, I believe she was in her 70s, Jason?
I think she's 75. Yeah.
That's what I thought. 75, in her mid-70s, and still has value to offer the world. And there are too many people that hit 40 and think, I'm done. This is it. I have nowhere else to go. And I always say this, and if you've seen me on a webinar or whatnot, is if you plan and expect to live to 85, which is something a philosophy teacher of mine taught this class, was plan on living to 85, okay? If I'm only 40, I'm not even halfway there, so why am I thinking life for me has ended? And too many people have done that. I've done it when I was younger. But when you start thinking that way, it makes you think that you can still dream like a kid. You still be a kid, but you also got to be open to receive like a kid, no matter what you've been through, no matter how old you are. So, yeah, that was huge when you brought that up, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and what was interesting is, so we're at, and we touched on this earlier, the just for launching their new, and that training, their style and their approach it's perfect for someone either A, that is just starting, and hasn't had any of the experiences that we had, or someone like us that's like, okay, I'm here in the journey, but it's not happening yet the way I feel it should. It's not clicking. And so we both get involved, with their training platform out of that event, and we start putting in the work. And again, coming at we're from scratch. Let's start over, clean slate. And a lot, to be honest, they're like in the early parts of the trainings, there were things I'm like, oh yeah, we've seen this 8 times before. I still watched the entire training. I still did the action steps. I still took the notes. So did Eddie. Because it's like, well, this is how you reestablish your foundation, is when you let go of that ego. And so we dove in with just both hands, just full on. And it's like, okay, here's the first piece, stack it on the second and the third and the fourth, and here we go, and we just like Eddie says, we became sponges. And there's a clarity call. It's a training call done every Thursday night, and we were on pretty much every one live, and we're sending in questions. And like, well, what about this? We need an answer to this question to make this work. What about this? What about your opinion on this, Brenda? What do you think about this approach, Justin? And we took full advantage, because that's the other thing. It's one thing to start with a clean slate and you get the new you get access to new training, new mentors and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, even with a great clean slate mindset, and you get access to the proper training and the proper, proper mentors, all these things, if you sit on your ass, it still don't matter. So that was also a gut check, I know, for me, and Eddie, I'm sure you kind of probably felt the same way. It was gut check time for both of us. Like, okay, fine. You understand you're not getting where you want to go fast enough. Well, check yourself. Are you ready to dive in for real? Are you going to commit? Like one of our buddies that lives down here locally in Arizona, and he's a great mentor of ours, Greg Gomez III. He's got a video that says, "Are you serious or are you committed?" Serious is great, but when you're freaking committed, it's on. And you find the time after the full-time job to do a webinar like we're doing tonight on a Thursday to provide value. You sit at your computer for 3 hours straight, go through trainings, and you go into action in the early morning. Eddie waking up at 1:30 in the morning to write a new passage for his book, and then writing until then it's time to go to work. That's commitment, and that's where we had to make the shift. Again, mindset. At least, and Eddie, I'll let you take this in a second. I know I had definitely been serious since 2011, without a doubt. The amount of money and time invested in travel to events and the books and the reading and everything. But I can honestly look back to a lot of those times I was not committed because other stuff would get in the way, and I'd make every damn excuse as to why a result wasn't happening. But once we went to HBA, dumped ego, started from scratch, then we got committed because the mindset shifted.
And you're dead on that with the commitment. Is we both knew we had knowledge. We both were investing time, but then it turned into, well, I'm gonna start doing this, and then it goes to the old Greg Gomez squirrel. Well, then I'm gonna allow this to distract me. If you're committed, you will not be distracted. You will create the time to get what needs to be done for what you feel is important. And as Jason said, serious, yeah, I was serious too, but I wasn't committed. I took action, but it wasn't improper action, it wasn't good action, it wasn't action that was actually taking me further to where I wanted to go. And like Jason shared, it was afterwards one of the trainings, and this was after Mastermind, this wasn't even after the HBA, was I did a 30-day commitment. And yes, I was waking up at 1:30 in the morning. I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start writing because I had a commitment to my accountability partner. And I want to throw a shout out, and I know Jason agrees, is to Jess Simonson, who's been huge for us. She's like a sister to both of us. Just tough love, but a huge, huge heart that wants to see you do good. And when you have somebody like that in your corner, first you start to question it. Is it real? Does somebody like this really give a damn? But then as you go on, yes they do, yes they do, yes they do. Then they have expectations for you, and then all of a sudden your expectations for yourself start to increase. They start to step up. You start to see and believe that that dream that you saw when you closed your eyes as you went to sleep was no longer a dream. It was starting to become reality. And mindset shifting on that was knowing that you're capable, knowing. That's why when we started this off, I wanted to start off with the win. It wasn't even intentional. It was one of those things, here's a lesson for you guys right now, because this is something that was a problem for both of us. Eddie, you got 11th place and a half used scented candles. So what? Well, when you know what's going on behind the scenes, as I do and Jason does and several other people, but not a lot of people, it's huge. Yeah. Same with Jason, 6th place. That's huge. And that was just, Jason hustled his butt off, and that was just communication, personal interaction, so on and so forth, that got him to that point. And we're not discrediting the leaders because they busted their butts too. you know, but you gotta count the wins. And earlier we would count the wrong wins. If you agree with me, Jason, is we would count, hey, I did a video and I got a compliment from so and so. Yeah, that's great. Okay. But once you get off and then you're no longer on camera, you're no longer online, you're sitting on the couch stressed out beyond belief on how am I going to pay my bill.
Yeah.
I don't have somebody in my life to share anything with. I'm a single dad of two beautiful and amazing kids. Is like I would love to provide them more, but I can't. All that stuff starts eating at you, and then the value you go to share with the world doesn't hold the water that you think it holds, because if one part of you goes down in one aspect of your life, so does the same in the other aspects. So it's just one of those things to where you got to take a couple steps back. Be a kid, dream. But when you're a kid and you dream, that dream is like a reality. You don't know the difference between a dream and reality. And we lose that as we grow up. But the big part of that Jason shared with me and that I continue to learn, I thank him for it, is let go of the ego. Let go of who you are today. Be that kid that sees a dream, but also be that kid that's vulnerable enough to say, okay, I'm willing to be taught. I'm willing to be led. Teach me, show me the way. You're not always going to find the right mentor. You're not always going to find the right leader. That's fine. There are real good leaders out there. Eventually you will. You may be lucky and hit it spot on the first time. But yeah, letting go of the ego to me is huge, because it takes you away from who you are today so you can become the person you want to be tomorrow. And that's the best way I can state it.
Yeah, no, that was wow, getting goosebumps here. I wasn't even sure I was going to go here, to be honest. I said he was chatting there, but something that just struck me as he was talking about getting back to being a kid, and he talked about like when you're a kid, the dreams you have are real, and we lose that as adults. And Eddie, I wasn't planning to go here tonight, but since it just happened last night, I feel
go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna let the emotions flow. So as Eddie and I were chatting on the phone last night after the webinar that we did yesterday evening, all of a sudden he's like, check your email, dude, and the results were in from that contest. And so I'm looking at the email, he's looking at it, we're talking on the phone, we're hooting and hollering, and we're celebrating, and hey, there we go, hey, and I'm out. I need another one. So I had reached out after I got off the phone with Eddie. I reached out to Justin Glover, one of the co-founders of Results 513 and Ignition Mastermind, who was him and Brenda had put on that contest, and I thanked him for the opportunity and this, that, and the other, and he made a suggestion he made a couple different, what he calls biohacks, on how to embrace a moment of power, empowerment, joy, success, the win, and transfer that into your body so that you can have an association. And he gave me a couple, and I'm only going to share with you the one, because the one I took advantage of, he said, go for a walk with power, and speak to yourself in powerful phrases. Be meditating on this is who you are, this is what you're about, and speak it on those things where you still feel a little bit of fear, that doubt, that wanting, and it's not quite there. And I did that. I found on YouTube some really cool Zen, like flute type music stuff, and had that going in the earbuds on my phone, and it was like almost like 11 o'clock at night. I went walking down by the canals here, right near where I live, and I just soaked in the music, and I just walked with a powerful posture, and I just was smiling, and I was just like saying, like, this is what I'm about. This is who I am. This is who Eddie is. Like, we are creating products. We are touching people's lives. We are speaking from stages. We are traveling the world. We're financial. I mean, I was just like in the zone, right? And and Eddie will attest, I get blubbery from time to time, even on camera, with the emotions flowing. And I was actually kind of shocked. I'd been walking for about 40 minutes, and not a single tear. And I was actually a little surprised by that. I figured, this was a great night. It was great wins for both of us. And then I, kept walking, and I kind of hung out by the canal for a while, and I was looking up at the stars and the planes going over. And then I started heading for home. And then Eddie texted me. He's like, "Hey, we just had our third sale tonight come through for climbing the Mindset Mountain." And that was in the span of like an hour and a half or something. And I took a few steps, and then it hit me. And like Eddie says, when you're a kid, the dream is real, even though it's not there yet, quote unquote. But when you're a kid, the dream's real all the time. And I took a few more steps, and the tears came. And they weren't frustrated tears. They were tears of joy. They were tears of gratitude. They were tears of release, and they were tears of faith being confirmed. They were tears of a belief being confirmed in last night's wins for both of us, because the dream was real. The dream was real. We had created value for people. They were purchasing it. We created value through how we interacted with folks to tell them, please take a look at Ignition Mastermind. And we placed in the, numbers, we placed, I call it the top 10, because number 11, a creamy pumpkin candle, is top 10 in my mind. I don't care, it's 11th place. I mean, that's a creamy scented pumpkin candle. But to get back to it, and if any of you have seen the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, at the end of the film, he steps out into the New York streets among the crowds, and his tears start to flow, and he's clapping like this, and he's just holding his hands together, and all of a sudden I was doing that last night as I walked home, and I wasn't really aware of it and then I thought, wow, I'm all of a sudden I'm Will Smith here. And it was such a beautiful moment, and I want to bring it back to ego again in a very unique way. The tears were flowing. I mean, that kind of cry where like your mouth starts doing like the twitchy thing, and it's just like you can't even like control it, and you look really horrible. I mean, I wish I should have taken a picture, because it would have been a rough one. It would have been funny for Instagram. But it lasted about 4 or 5 minutes, and it was such a beautiful moment, and I was just soaking it in. And then it passed. And the ego, the mindset, the ego kicked in when it stopped. Like, no, don't stop. Keep crying. This is a great moment. It's got to go on for 5 more minutes. That was my ego talking. And I started to just laugh. I'm just like, dude, really? Here comes the ego again? It's like, shut it down. Like the moment was beautiful. The moment is past. Now you're into the next moment. Embrace this moment as for what it is, not what you want it to be. And so I just want to share that. I wasn't even going to go there, but it just happened last night. I think it's an important lesson that your dream's real, even if it's not all the way here in your present time. But get back to being that kid, because your dream is freaking real, and it's waiting for you. You work your ass off. You put in consistent action, you learn from people, and you just keep going. And the next thing you know, you have a night like last night, and you too can cry while listening to Zen music while walking by a canal. So, I was figuring
I'm proud of you for sharing that, and that's part of it, is ego. Is how many people be like watching this going, man, I couldn't share that. I wouldn't share that. Oh, I'd be too embarrassed. I'd be ashamed. If you do, you're going to get criticized. If you don't, you're going to get criticized. So why give somebody else the power to keep you from doing what you want to do? And, you got to have egos in certain circumstances. You got to let it go in certain circumstances. And letting it go allowed us to get to today. And like Jason sharing his story, the ego in a sense is like, hey, I ain't afraid to tell you I cried, because it was powerful. You see it on the movie Will Smith, and here's what I like to relate is, and I used to be real guilty of this, but I'm not so much more, because I learned to dream a lot like a kid. Is we see, you know, we watch a chick flick on the big screen or whatnot, and oh, they met, and it was true love and whatnot, and we get so inspired, and then we walk out going, yeah, that'll never happen to me. Well, of course it's not going to happen to you because you're not open to it. You're not open to receive it. And you're not open to accept it. You know, or Will Smith coming out, you know, out after busting his ass and sleeping in the bathroom with his kid and all that he went through. And going, yeah, man, that's bad. You know, I love that story. It's inspiring. But that'll never happen to me. Well, you're right. It won't happen to you. You're not open to receive it. You got to get rid of the ego and be the sponge. You got to let go. It's having faith that you cannot control everything. Things will come to you when they need to come, but knowing that you'll be all right. The more control you try to have, the less control you're actually going to have. That's as a parent. That's as in anything. The more control, the more grip, the tighter grip you grasp something, more likely you're going to lose it. Because eventually your hands are going to break free, they're going to tire out, and you're not going to be able to grasp anything. So that's your ego. Your ego is the thing that tells you to hold on tight. You got to get rid of that. You got to be open to change. You got to be able to adjust. Yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to suck at times. And one thing I always say is life ain't always rainbows and roses, but it doesn't mean your life can't have rainbows and roses. So there we go. That's I think we're getting a little bit deep and emotional here, but that's how Jason and I roll. And
break up the tissues. Break up handkerchiefs, whatever. Actually, Eddie, you just reminded me of something in how you were describing the Will Smith, Pursuit of Happiness, the Will Smith movie, and the struggles he had and stuff, and the title of that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, and they even touch on that in the movie. It's like it's the pursuit. Because his character even says that. How did they know when they wrote that document? The pursuit of happiness, not happiness. The pursuit of happiness. That's what we strive for, and I thought that was powerful in the movie back when I watched it the first time. But the experience I had last night, and it's something I wish for all of you, it is about the pursuit. Because the payoff, emotionally, when you get the wins, when you're in that level of a pursuit of happiness, it's priceless. I mean, I can't put a price tag on what happened last night. No way. Because, I mean, think about the difference. Like, so right now, like tonight, you're watching this as a replay, you're watching it live, and you're struggling, and you're like the Will Smith character, you're getting the car towed and all the parking tickets, and then the tax man comes and takes your money, and you're just like, I got no way out. And then you wake up tomorrow, or you're sitting here tonight watching us, and you say, you know what, I'm still in this game, and forget all this nonsense, I'm going for it again. And then and all of a sudden tomorrow you get that win. And then you get another win. And then something else happens, and you keep going, and you're in that pursuit mode, and then you have a night like I had last night, and your tears flow of gratitude, of joy. You don't get that kind of payoff if it's easy. I mean, if you think about it, like, you're okay, I'm going to build my own home business, and you did it in 2 weeks, and you're making 10 grand a month. Yeah, party. That would be awesome, no doubt. I mean, we're not going to blow smoke up your ass here. I mean, if you could build a $10,000 a month business in 2 weeks, which, to be honest, there's a lot of ads out there that say you could do it in 6 days, but we know that's not reality, right? But that would be wonderful. That would be amazing. You would not get the emotional payoff like when you're in the pursuit of your happiness and your dream and your vision and your goals, and you had to go through it. You had to go deep, and you came out the other side and you said, I just pulled off the win of my life. And then it's 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, and you're crying and you're clapping like Will Smith. I mean, that's why Eddie. I mean, that's kind of why Eddie and I do what we do with mindset training. You know, with why we created climbing the mindset mountain. We want to help you on that pursuit because we've been in it. We're, you know, every day we're in it. You know, we're at different points of it, but we're in it and we're loving it. I mean, we talk every day or texts or Facebook messages and we're cracking each other up and just rejoicing in every bit of progress. And, you know, that's why we created that product, is like we need to take our knowledge, our value, the insights we've gained, and we've got to package it and we have to offer it to people like you so that you can use this as your foundation to maybe you're starting your pursuit, or maybe you need to restart that pursuit. Again, maybe you need to dump the ego. And maybe dumping the ego, part of that is tonight, if you haven't already, you go over and you hit that link. You know, it's with our names, .mindsetmtn.com. Focus on, not just buy. Because again, invest to me means you buy something, you just bought something. You can buy it and forget about it. You invest, you're in pursuit mode. You're in pursuit of your happiness. So
you're committed. You are committed. You invest.
That's a big difference. Big difference. So that's because you were coming up on 42 minutes, Ed. So I mean, I think that's my walk-off comment. Right? So I think I'm done yammering on. So.
Well, I'll wrap this up. But like Jason said, our product you can find it at invest.mindsetmtn.com, which is on the banner. And I wanted to leave you guys with this. This is the big shift. This is a big shift for me. Last week I had a high commission on one sale. I guess it was through time that I experienced and built the relationship with somebody that saw what I saw and invested, and so I was able to get a commission for this purchase. It would take me, or take Jason and I, 40 sales of our product to equal that commission I received last week. Now here's the thing. I was happier last night off the 3 sales we got within a short amount of time, and then the 4th one this morning. I was happier for those 4 sales than I was that one commission, and I would need to sell 40 of our product to equal that one commission, or just comes right under it. And it's knowing where your value is. The money is fine. That high commission ticket, yes, very needed, very much needed, very important. But these small sales on this was me. This was me and Jason connecting and creating. This was me letting go of who I was and thinking I knew everything and just saying, hey, okay, little give and take. And that's why Jason and I work so well together, is we can feed off each other. Jason will come to me with something, well, I don't see this part, but this is good. Okay. And, you know, vice versa. We trust each other. We expect each other to critique each other. And it's letting go of the ego. Instead of saying, I know how to do copy, I got it, I'm down. Hey, here's my copy. Critique it, please tell me what you think, and then let's get this bad boy out.
Yeah.
But it's the value in the little things. And like I said, the big shift for me is appreciating those 4 sales, which are far from distance from that one that I had last week, because that time that I put in this, along with Jason, was so important to me, as well as it was important to him, that's where the meaning came from. The hard work was received. I accepted it. That's why I patted myself on the back at the beginning, you know, for coming in 11th or selling this product, you know, Jason as well. So let go of the ego. You know, glim and glamour ain't always glim and glamour. Know where the value is. Learn to dream like a kid. Don't let that go. Get back to that. Be a sponge. Be open to receive. So quit wishing and wanting. because you're not going to get unless you release and open to receive. So outside of that, we are at 45 minutes. We want to keep it here. So
on the dot.
Yeah. So Jason, if you don't mind, we'll just close this out. But we will be coming back to you next week with a couple webinars, and we want to thank you guys for watching this. We're bringing more value. Tonight we talked about the ego, which allowed us to get to this event. And the crazy part was this is just the beginning. And after that, one of our dreams just came true, and we'll share that on the next one. And this dream and passion, this talk and envisioning becoming somebody and standing in a particular spot became a reality for one of us. So that's what we're going to share with you next webinar, which will probably be, we'll get it out to you soon. So if you subscribe to see this replay, if you haven't subscribed, we'll give you a link so that way you can email it to you, so you won't have to subscribe each time. So outside of that, Jason, you good to go?
We are good to go. Bruce is very honored to be part of the broadcast here in the background. And yeah, I mean, the last little thing, since we were talking about celebrations at the top of the show, I want to end with that point. Like Eddie says, sometimes the smaller win is actually gigantic. And so don't ever overlook any of your wins. I don't care if it's your first lead in your business because of a Facebook ad, and that's all, and there's no sale, it's just you got a lead. It could be the first time you got through a training video and took great notes. It could be a high-ticket commission. It doesn't matter, but you've got to celebrate the wins. And to end the show, I need more celebration beverage because this is empty. So with that, I guess I need to head to the kitchen. So this is Jason J. Boom Legaard. That is Eddie Aguilar up in Flagstaff. We are wrapped. We look forward to seeing you guys and gals next time. Boom.
All right, we are out of here. We'll see you guys on the next one.